I'm Dr. Madsen Pirie, President of the Adam Smith Institute. Welcome to our series, Economics for the Real World. Self-sufficiency is one of those curious concepts that most people would probably consider to be a good thing, whereas most economists would take a contrary view. Self-sufficiency means not being dependent on others as far as possible for your goods and services. Some countries produce their own steel and ships, make their own cars and trucks, manufacture their own domestic products, and grow their own food, and manage to be self-sufficient to a large degree. But when we ask if they're better off for doing that, the answer is that they not necessarily are. We could be self-sufficient in those things if we wanted to, but we'd enjoy a higher standard of living if instead we bought some of those things from countries that can produce them more efficiently than we can and are able to sell them to us at less than it would cost us to make them ourselves. If we buy from them, we have the difference left in our pockets. In other words, we become richer if we buy more cheaply. Adam Smith made the point that grapes could be grown on the slopes of Ben Nevis. He said, by means of glasses, hotbeds, and hot walls, wine could be produced from those grapes, but at about 30 times the cost of buying an equivalent French wine. If instead of doing that, we buy the French wine, we have 29/30ths of the cost left in our pockets to buy other things with. If we try to be self-sufficient in everything, we deny ourselves access to the specialization that enables goods to be produced efficiently by those who have the skill to do that. Very few households make their own bicycles. They buy them from specialist bicycle makers, just as most of them buy beer from brewers, bread from bakers, and shoes from the cobbler. It's more efficient to buy those goods from people with the expertise to specialize in making them. An exception is made for goods in which countries wish to be self-sufficient for security reasons, goods related to military and defense equipment. That is because they do not want their ability to resist attack to be dependent on the goodwill of foreign suppliers. The UK recognises strategic industries in which it wishes to retain independence. In 2 world wars last century, UK ships faced a submarine blockade, forcing the country to become more self-sufficient in food than it had been. But the prospect of a similar instance in possible future conflicts is now determined, so unlikely that the UK buys food from across the globe and benefits hugely from efficient overseas producers. By not being self-sufficient, we can concentrate our resources on the production of high added value goods and services, increasing our wealth more than it would have been if we tried to produce everything ourselves. Some people want to put the Union Jack on domestic goods and urge everyone to buy British. If the presence of the flag's image on a product makes people pay more than they would pay for a cheaper foreign competitor, they are making themselves poorer by doing so. And the country as a whole becomes poorer by producing goods that others can do more cheaply, instead of concentrating its efforts on the goods and services it does best.